Privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, it's no secret, I think we've all watched the headlines, that the new administration is off to a bit of a rough start. The governor started out with a call for unity, said now is the time to bring people together, but all of his actions thus far, in my estimation, the estimation of many observers, have served to actually push us further apart. Executive orders that push parents, against teachers, that seek to I think, only imagine trying to appeal to a far corner of his base to get them fired up and ready to go, as opposed to trying to pursue some common sense policies that we could all agree on and bring us together. And Mr. Speaker, we've talked about some of those on the floor. We've heard about the mask mandates and the dubious legal basis upon which these executive orders are laid. But I think, hopefully, we in this House can come together over one of the governor's more recent and more provocative measures. He was on the radio the other day promoting an email tip line to encourage people to report on teachers that violate some unknown doctrine of what is an appropriate thing to be teaching in the classroom. Mr. Speaker, he is asking, it's scary. It is scary, Mr. Speaker, to those of us that have studied history in school, that have had an education on some divisive topics. I can't tell you, Mr. Speaker, my father tweeted about this, because it reminds any of us who've studied history of some really unpleasant periods in the world's history where you have governments encouraging their citizens to rat each other out, to report violations of the doctrine of the state that's approved, what the state is allowed to teach, what you're allowed to say and not say in a classroom. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that members of this body, all of us, because I know, Mr. Speaker, I've heard you speak on these issues, I've heard you speak on the dangers of creeping authoritarianism on this floor. And I hope that we'll all recognize that this is not a policy that's appropriate here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's not something we want people to do. Mr. Speaker, we have a problem recruiting teachers to work in Virginia's classrooms. So to tell them now that you've got to watch out, you got to be on your toes, because you never know who in that classroom might take offense or might be made uncomfortable by something you're trying to teach. When you're trying to teach a particularly problematic period of history, you might be reported to the authorities in Richmond. Someone in Richmond is going to come down and have a visit because they got an email, because you've been turned in, you've been ratted out by somebody who thinks you violated the doctrine that the General Assembly wants to set, that the governor's executive order wants to set up for what you're allowed to teach and what you're not allowed to teach. You've crossed some mythical line, some secret line into some divisive topic that's verboten that our kids can't handle. So you've got to go to your classroom every day and not only worry about the health of your children, not only worry about their safety, not only worry about whatever trauma that they've got going on at home. Now you've got to worry that one of them might be sending messages to Richmond to tell them you violated the party orthodoxy. Mr. Speaker, I know that you guys must be troubled by this. I know we can't be the only ones on this side of the aisle that are concerned about where this is leading and what this is reminiscent of. I know y'all are uncomfortable. I know that it's hard to stand up to a governor of your own party, believe me. I remember 2016, our governor had a bill on secrecy of lethal injection, wanted to make it easier to do capital punishment. And I stood up on this floor during reconvene session, and I told him I thought he was wrong. And I told him I thought he had the wrong policy. We ought not do it. And I got everybody on my side of the aisle to vote with me against our governor. It was a matter of conscience. Mr. Speaker, I know that you all don't believe in anonymous tip lines. I know you don't want citizens pitted against teachers, parents against teachers, against school boards, parents against each other. I know that it makes you all as uncomfortable as it does. I hope that you'll stand up to your governor and tell him he's got this wrong. He's gone too far, Mr. Speaker. People of Virginia won't stand for it. I hope that you all will tell him he needs to do better. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.